Welcome back. Well, if you or a loved one suffers from cognitive decline, memory loss, dementia, or even early stage Alzheimer's disease, then you do not want to miss what our next guest has to offer. With us is the Communications Director from the Integrated Health Center of the Rockies, Miss Amanda Vargas. She is here to share the amazing progress that has been achieved in the field of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's care. Welcome.
Thanks for having me again. Nice to see you too.
All right, let's talk about this, because when we talk about chronic diseases, of all of them a person could get, we really don't fear any as much as we do when it comes to dementia or even Alzheimer's disease. And why is that?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that, Gina. The first one being that it's the only one of the nation's 10 most common causes of death in which there is no effective treatment. And secondly, not only is it fatal, but it robs these victims and their families of their lives long before they're actually gone. So if you think about it, it's the only disease in which the patient dies not just once, but twice. The first time when they lose their memory and all mental faculties, and then again when the rest of them finally dies. So it's an excruciating experience for everybody involved.
Yes, it is. But you've got this free dinner event that people can go to learn more. It's a wonderful time for you to go ahead and learn more about what we're talking about. It's March 3rd at 6 p.m., 303-974-1087. That number again is right there on your screen. What you need to do though, because seating is limited, call that number and see if you qualify to attend. Now, from what you've learned with the doctors that you work with, what actually is a person dealing with when they're, kind of dealing with cognitive decline or dementia?
Well, it usually starts innocently enough, so maybe they're forgetting things here and there, misplacing items, or they walk into rooms multiple times a day and forget why they walked in there in the first place. And what's really interesting is that a lot of these patients, as they get older and notice these symptoms, they'll chalk them up to quote-unquote senior moments. And a little time will go on, and other people will begin to notice, like their family and friends. So maybe this person is having to rely very heavily on calendars and note-taking just to keep things straight. They're not remembering their grandchildren's names anymore. And it becomes very apparent very quickly that something is going wrong with their brain.
So then many of them, some don't, but some do go to their healthcare providers. They walk in and say, I think maybe something's wrong. What's a typical experience like for them when that happens?
Well, it really depends on what they're experiencing when they go in and how diligent their provider is. Up until recently, there really wasn't any definitive testing that would allow a clinician to make a concrete diagnosis. So it's not unusual for these patients to get the runaround. And unfortunately, if and when they're formally diagnosed with something like early stage Alzheimer's disease, they're often told it's too late. So they need to have a power of attorney and they need to get their affairs in order.
But there is some good news around the corner right now that I understand. So tell us what you're seeing, the doctors there at IHCR.
We now know through science and clinical experience that the symptoms of these conditions are not only preventable, but they're actually reversible as well. And the really exciting part is that we're able to figure out what is actually causing these conditions. And it's not the amyloid plaquing in the brain like we thought it was all along. And in addition to that, there's new technology and a new treatment approach that is allowing the symptoms of dementia, cognitive decline, and early stages of Alzheimer's disease to reverse with a success rate of over 90%.
Reverse and success of over 90%.
That's right.
That is amazing and something that should not go unnoticed. Now, I want to let everyone know, again, we've got this free cognitive decline dinner event that's happening March 3rd at 6 p.m. The number right there on your screen, easy to remember, 303-974-1087. Call that number right now. See if you qualify, because seating is very limited. And now I'm going to make sure she explains what you mean by successful by over 90%.
We're seeing people going back to work, they're able to drive again, they're getting their memory back, they're able to remember their grandchildren's names, and they're able to achieve normalcy in their lives again when previously they were going downhill. It's really phenomenal.
The specifics, when you talk like that, it just, I can almost imagine people lighting up with that kind of news. All right, so now we've given the information, it's right there on your screen. Who should be coming to this event, calling right now?
If you or someone you love is suffering from any of the symptoms associated with dementia, cognitive decline, or early stages of Alzheimer's disease, I highly recommend that you give our office a call to see if you qualify for this free event. It's not anything that you'll want to miss, and it could truly save your life.
Absolutely. You give these statistics, you come here, you talk about this, and you provide these free dinner events, which is
Yes.
so wonderful for anyone. Like she was just saying, if this rings a bell for you or a loved one, you need to call this number on your screen. I'm going to go ahead and give you the information again. Are you ready? Reserve your seat for the free cognitive decline dinner event on Tuesday, March 3rd at 6 p.m. All you have to do is call 303-974-1087 to see if you qualify to attend the free informational event on reversing cognitive decline and the symptoms of early stage Alzheimer's disease. IHCR paid for this segment.